How often should I exercise per week for optimal health? So the ACSM, or American College of Sports Medicine, made basically health guideline recommendations. So it's 2 times a week of beginner fitness. Reddit, let's do this. I am in the transition phase of coming out of a wedding, and I have 30 minutes till the reception. So I just decided I'm going to hop on, do a little beginner fitness podcast for y'all. So hope you like it. No one has any patience. Just starting a discussion here. I think he's starting to fight. Anyone else notice that so many people are in a mad dash to lose weight? Many of them been obese for decades, but now all of a sudden they want to know the fastest way to lose it. Have some patience, people, and you will have more success. Nothing good happens fast in your body. Yes, this is true, absolutely. But the thing about anytime you are in a stressful situation, so anytime you are, we'll just use obesity, and honestly, being obese is a very stressful situation. Usually, you have very poor self-image with your self mentally and also physically. It's a lot of stress on your body, so this may register as anxiety and a lot of other kind of psychosomatic things related to it. Long story short, though, it's a tough situation, and not a lot of people like being in this circumstance where they're obese. So when you are in a very tough and stressful situation, of course, you are going to want to find the easiest and the fastest way out of that. That happens with anyone. If you're broke, how do I get money fast? If you're single and lonely, how do I get a relationship fast? Like, it is how the world is ingrained. So I think coming at this from first a place of like no judgment should be the first thing, and I feel like this is a very judgmental post. However, I do agree that yes, people do want weight loss results really fast, fitness results fast, and it just usually does not come as fast as people think. So nothing good happens fast in your body. This is the part that's kind of like, there are a lot of acute benefits to exercise, including reduced overall blood pressure, improved mood, your digestion is better, and there's a few other markers I was thinking. Oh, your blood glucose, ability to regulate your blood glucose is much better right after exercise. So there's a bunch of acute things that happen in your body with exercising. Actually losing weight and that kind of stuff, yeah, that does take a while to lose the weight. What I should say is tangible results. But there is a lot of things that are happening underlying in your body that are internal and don't show on the surface first, that will actually be a benefit for you. So if you're obese and you're somebody who's struggling with the obesity aspect of this, and yes, maybe you don't have patience, that's kind of what I would try to hopefully lean you towards, at least initially, is this idea that you are still doing something in your body that is good for you that may not even be registered on a scale or what you see in the mirror. But there is dramatic health benefits that happen to you even if you don't lose any weight at all, just by exercising and moving, period. Losing weight, of course, will have more benefits as well, but just something to keep in mind and consider for sure. This person feels like they don't want me in the gym because of my excessive. Ooh, find another gym because you sweat too much. Interesting. Oh, it's a 22-year-old too. Okay, usually people that young don't really care. Well, I guess I can't really say because I haven't really cared about what people think about in the gym for me for a really long time. First time I went to the gym, I wasn't comfortable. I felt like my excessive sweating is making people judge me. For context, amount of sweat I produced, 10 minutes, enough to soak my shirt. Honestly, there's a lot of people like that, especially if you're in a really hot place. Like, the amount of times and this is just personal experience opinion, that I've looked at somebody and literally seen them sweat a lot. I've either thought, wow, they just got out of the sauna. Wow, they likely just did a lot of cardio, or they did a weight training circuit that had a lot of stuff to it. I haven't looked at it as a way of like judging them as a person or saying like, oh, that's disgusting. Like, literally, people in the gym sweat, especially in hot places during the summer. It is normal. That is like going to a library and asking people, I think I'm too quiet, and I'm worried that people are judging me because I'm too quiet at the library. Like, that's the what you do at a library. You be quiet. At a gym, you sweat, you work out, you work hard. At the YMCA here, we have people who play basketball and like they're drenched. They take their shirts off. They're doing everything. So yeah, no, I can't say there's always probably some idiot out there who's, being mean and judging people. But like for the most part, this is not something I would, just know from me and from a lot of other fitness goers, the more you sweat is honestly usually a badge of honor. That means you've gotten your heart rate up and you've gotten in an uncomfortable situation for you. If this was really uncomfortable for you, I would maybe bring a couple shirts, extra t-shirts, maybe some deodorant. If you do smell, that could be another facet of this. I smell really bad when I sweat, so that is something I'm kind of self-conscious about. So you could maybe bring, and this is kind of a lot, but you could bring like 2 to 3 shirts, some deodorant, and maybe even just a touch of like cologne or like body spray. And then like halfway through your workout, you just switch shirts, freshen up a little bit, and then go hit the rest. That would take like 2 minutes in a stall. So yeah, no big deal. And of course, like you're wiping up the machines too. That's kind of the big thing too. If you're not leaving puddles everywhere where people are slipping and falling like banana peels in Mario Kart, yeah, you're good. You're good. This individual wants to know if they should start going to the gym. Okay, you're asking this question on a beginner fitness Reddit forum. So I'm guessing that they probably do want to start going to the gym, or at least think they should go to the gym. And they're asking a forum that will likely tell them to go to the gym. So I'm going to answer this question for you. Yeah, you should go to the gym. You're literally asking a group of people that all usually go to the gym, or at least want answers about the gym, if you should go to the gym. Absolutely. But let's dig a little bit deeper. They never done any physical activity. Family and friends says I don't need to go. Ooh, as I already look. Okay, so there is another layer to this. Should I start going to the gym? Yes. Because even if you look fit, keep in mind that's relative. And if your family and friends don't go to the gym, they likely want you to not go to the gym because they would then feel like they would need to go to the gym to better themselves. That is something very common when one person in a relationship starts working out, starts eating healthier, starts doing all these things to benefit their life, is that they start to make the other person feel uncomfortable because your ability to better yourself makes them feel like they need to, and they feel like you're judging them. So as long as you're not judging your family for not going, yeah, you absolutely should. There's health benefits for exercise, regardless if you lose weight. There's health benefits beyond just looking fit. You'll improve the health of your joints. There's a lot of mental health benefits that come with exercise. I would say that there's no downside to becoming stronger and having more muscle if you are doing it naturally without the enhancement of drugs. And even with that, sometimes you can still do it okay. There are acute changes that happen internally, such as like your blood glucose regulation is better, your blood pressure is better, improved mood after exercise. Those all happen literally right after you exercise. So just because you look fit and maybe even are fit, like you could just go run a mile, no problem. I think if you have the time to do it, there is no reason why you shouldn't add just a little bit more of something of your choosing. If you're really fit and you can run really well, you might need to work on flexibility, mobility, overall strength. Pick something you're not typically good at. Or, right now, if you already look fit, you might already have a good amount of muscle. But are you strong? Can you run fast? Can you jump high? Can you move your body without pain? Those are some other things you can look into when you do go to the gym. Kind of some other goals. Gym etiquette. Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes. It is my privilege to welcome you to the gym. And as we do so, please wipe down your equipment. Drink not like an idiot with your water bottle. Yes, gym etiquette. No, I'm just being a stupid idiot. So this wants some gym etiquette. They're easing themselves back, just using the functional trainer. About 15 minutes in, guy asks if he can use the machine. Still had around 15 minutes to go. I offer him the side as I'm only using one side for now, but he's adamant he needs both. As a compromise, he says, do your set, and then he'll jump in and do his set. I said I'd be fine with that first, but he should check. So here's the thing about this. This is like a conversation that we'll have no clear winner. I could say to you that 30 minutes on a functional trainer is a really long time, because it is a really long time, but you got there first in a public gym, and unless there's a sign or somebody going around and making people get off the machines after 30 minutes of use, which sometimes is treadmills at certain gyms do have that sign by it, but usually weight equipment doesn't, then you're there. You're already there. You're working out. I mean, it literally is like the fact that you're working out. If you're not going out and doing a bunch of supersets really far away, and if you're staying like close to the machine and you're doing the workouts like on the machine, like it really is your workout. You got there first. Now, if you want somebody to work in and don't mind it, absolutely. But this is kind of the tough part. Like, don't feel obligated to just because they ask you to work in. Like, the fact that that person needs to do that specific exercise on that machine at that time, it may sound like a jerk move, but it really is their problem. And I used to be this way too. I used to be somebody who needed to literally have all my specific exercises. And if I didn't, I couldn't finish my workout, or I would literally sit and wait. If I was going to do something with legs next, I would sit and wait for the leg press instead of just doing any other machine in the gym that works the same muscles, or just doing some squats. Like, that's probably what I'm getting at here, because usually on these functional trainers and cable crossovers, people just load them up, and they need both. I'm guessing they're doing like chest flies or something, and especially in that one, like, I need both of them. Like, there are so many exercises to work whatever muscle you're doing, and it's same for this guy. You were there first, I wouldn't worry about it. But then there is the other side of this. If you want to make some friends, don't want to start beef, I would probably err, if I were you, on just letting somebody work in, or even just saying, hey, actually, you can just have this and then go do another exercise somewhere else. I've done that before numerous times where, let's say functional trainer like you're on, and I'm doing like a tricep exercise, like a tricep push down or a bicep curl. And some guy will ask me like, hey, can I use this one? Or like, are you almost done? How many sets? And literally sometimes mid set, I'll just be like, I'm done, because like, I just don't care about it. And immediately I find another exercise that works the same muscle and the same movement pattern. And 99% of the time I can do that. I have a lot of experience with fitness, so it's easy for me to kind of pivot. But you can't be so myopic on the machines you're using as well, because like, at the end of the day, your body doesn't register that, oh, I'm on this machine, so I'm going to gain a certain amount of weight. No, you are providing stimulus to your muscle, and that can be done on a weight machine, that can be done with free weights, that can be done with resistance bands. Yes, there's different strength curves. Yes, you will get stronger in different ways. When it comes to building muscle, like, you just need stress and stimulus on the muscle and body part, period. Strength is a different scenario too. And I've ran into this on squat racks, where I've been on the squat rack for 30 minutes and somebody asked me if I have the exact same thing as you. I have 15 minutes to go, and they said they can work in, and like, that's something where, again, like, if I show up and the squat racks are all full, I do sit there and wait, because those are a very specific exercise. But I don't sit there and like whine about it. I sit there and be like, well, I showed up at a poor time. I should have came sooner. Simple as that. So if your left leg is cramping when doing hamstring curls, am I doing something wrong? No, you're doing something right. And here's the reason why. Is because your calf, specifically, I believe it's the gastrocnemius, the big meaty muscle in the back of your lower leg, in your calf, you should say, actually is utilized to a small degree to flex your knee, as in the movement you do during hamstring curls. So when it comes to the hamstring curl movement, when you're doing a hamstring curl, that actually, what it's called in your body when it comes to biomechanics, is simply knee flexion. It's when your knee is straight and then you bend your knee. So you're bringing your knee closer to your body, or you're bringing your foot closer to your body by bending your knee. Anytime you do that, you are working mainly your hamstrings. But keep in mind, your calf inserts at the exact same area that knee joint is at. In particular, the back area that you're talking about. So anytime you're doing it, yes, you're literally working your calf to a small degree. It's not a lot, while working your hamstring. But in addition to this, here's the catch. If you're pointing your toes and you do the hamstring curl, this is usually where a lot of people have cramps, because if you think about it, your calf, as we just described, it does a few different things. It points your toes, so it gets you up on your tippy toes, and it also helps to a small degree in knee flexion, or bringing your knee from a straight to a bent position. So if you point your toes, you're already activating your calf. And then you do the hamstring curl or knee flexion, you're activating your calf even more. So you're literally activating both ends of the joint, or both ends of the muscle at both ends of the joint. So it's basically firing all these impulses, and it's getting to a point where your body's like, I wasn't designed to do plantar flexion, which is pointing your toe, and knee flexion at the same time. No, we can't do this. It'll start cramping, which is essentially sending too many signals to the muscle, and it's just going all over the place. That's usually what a cramp is. It's typically just too much work, overworking muscle all the time. So that's literally it. I would recommend not pointing your toes when doing a hamstring curl, and make sure that you, I don't know, maybe don't go for a huge run before this, or do a bunch of like jump roping, or basketball. I don't know, just something that doesn't work your calves a lot. Yeah. And make sure you honestly you're going into this exercise fresh with your hamstrings and calves. Cool. You got it. High protein lunch ideas. Title basically says it. Okay, this is where like I get I get really, really simple with things, and I look at what are all the high protein foods available, and then just either eating them straight up or throwing them into something simple, like a salad, for example. So let's talk about high protein foods. High protein foods, any meat, period. Particularly, I'd recommend lean meats, chicken breast, certain types of pork. Fish is a really good one. There was one other one I was thinking. Oh, ground beef, lean ground beef. Obviously, if you want to, you can add some kind of like higher fat options, like certain cuts of pork are a little bit higher fat. There's steak that's a little higher fat, but still pretty high in protein. Chicken thighs and chicken legs, those are going to be still high in protein, but a little more fat if you're able to. So that's a lot of meat-based options. And then there's dairy, so low-fat cheese. Greek yogurt is a really high protein option. I love that. Cottage cheese, another one. Milk is actually a very high protein option as well. Those are what come into mind for dairy options. Whey protein. Oh, duh. Whey protein, like literally a scoop of protein. So that's that. And then when it comes to vegetable options, anything with nuts. So like peanuts, and again, the vegetarian options, or these are vegan options, because dairy is vegetarian options of protein, but vegan options, or literally strictly plant-based, any type of nut, so like peanuts or peanut butter, almonds, cashews, those things. Tofu or soy is a really good one. There is actually stuff like legumes. So stuff like peas are actually pretty decently high in protein. Whole grains are actually not too high, or not too bad in protein too. So like oats, whole grain bread, whole grain wraps, those types of things. Those are all pretty good when it comes to plant-based options. And even green vegetables, not a lot of protein, but more when you're coming to the protein option. So if you think about all of those, it really is trying to pair one of those high protein options with maybe something you like. So like, for example, the first thing I'm thinking of is like, okay, I really like chicken, so I'm going to have some chicken breast. That's going to knock out my protein option for lunch. And then what else? Well, I usually eat some chips, so maybe I'll have some chips, normal chips, nothing crazy, like Lay's potato chips. Not the best thing, but I'm still going to have like kind of that. So you have some chicken breast and some chips. And you can fill in anything for this. I'm just giving an example of what I might do. But then I say to myself, chips, like maybe not the best. Like I want a little bit of balance to that too. So I'll have like a little bit of fruit, or maybe a little bit of a veggie. All right, not bad there. Probably one more thing, maybe two more things. I would likely either add another type of grain to it. Another type of grain. We didn't add a grain yet, so I'd add a grain to it. So like a whole wheat wrap. That you can put the chicken in, And then from there, I would usually try to incorporate some other ingredient to make the protein work with the grain really well. So in this example, we'll say whole grain wrap with some chicken cut up, and then you can toss in some lettuce, you can toss in some peppers, you can toss in some salt and pepper onto that. That'd be good, no problem. So, and then you have like a chicken wrap. We can use the same concept for another food. So let's say we'll do oats, because oats aren't really used that much. Let's say we're gonna do oats, and you're like, oats, okay, well, I don't really want to eat it with just protein, because that's kind of weird, but maybe I'll add a little bit of fruit and some oats, and that'll get some whole grains, a little bit of fruit, right? But I'm gonna have some a small plate of nachos. So I'm gonna have like a serving or two of tortilla chips, which aren't terrible. They're not the best, but when it comes to macro wise, but I'm gonna have a serving of those. And then I'm gonna have just a little bit of cheese, so there's some protein in there, on some lean ground beef. And then I'm just gonna dip them in. So meat, cheese, maybe some salsa, and then you kind of have like a little dessert. So that's another way you can look at it too, is just pairing the protein option with maybe your kind of snacky or junk part of the lunch. I'm not saying you need a junk part, but that's kind of how I do it, to have like still feeling like a human being while still trying to optimize my health. So yeah, really start with protein sources you like, add in whole grains, just Google whole grain options. I gave you a few on here, and add in a little bit of fruit or vegetable, and then don't feel bad about adding like half a cupcake or just something for fun too. But yeah, it's yeah, you got it. High protein. The game's easy. What was one thing that changed the game for you in the gym, overall fitness? Okay, I love this. I have been in the fitness game for, geez Louise, 13, 12 to 14 years at this point. A long time. I started lifting sophomore year of high school, freshman year of high school, actually. And that was, 2012? It's 20. Okay, 13 years. Cool. Go me. And I have experimented with everything. I've experimented with CrossFit type workouts, high intensity interval training. I've done training prep for 5Ks, like endurance training, really long running. I've done Olympic weightlifting. I've done weighted stretching, yoga, mobility. I've done some pain and rehab, like prehab programs. I've done powerlifting programs focused on upping your squat, bench, and deadlift. I mentioned Olympic weightlifting, so getting better in snatch and clean and jerk. Just sports. So basketball, playing recreational street hockey. Going out and playing frisbee, I love rollerblading and ice skating. So those are all things gym fitness related. And this person, what they did, they made their workouts fun by changing it up once in a while, and prioritizing carbs really showed a difference. It's funny, I didn't even read this before that, but that's exactly what I've done. Changing my workouts by far, changing my intent, and just how I look at my workout too. I was so focused on like that workout meaning so much. Like when I was powerlifting, it'd be like, oh, this is everything. Like I need to get my squat up, etc., or whatever. Olympic weightlifting, I need to get my snatch stronger. Like anything involved that. And after a couple health things where I really had to dial back my training and not go full blown anymore, I quickly realized that all of those things were completely arbitrary and really were things that I just made up and didn't really matter. So I stopped just forcing myself to do specific workout programs. I literally go into the gym and I have a general framework of what I want to do, but I do whatever I want every single day I go. Now, I will say I have built a good level of fitness from following programs, and I think that is a good thing for your first year at least, is to follow some type of program. But once you get enough strength and muscle, what you need to do to maintain those things is a very small amount of fitness, and you can get really creative, and that's kind of what I've realized and come to. So yeah, I do everything. I do yoga, I do mobility, I do stretching, I do bodybuilding, I do running. I like running. I like rollerblading. I do some heavy lifting like squats, bench press, deadlift, overhead press. I do Olympic lifts. I do jumping. I do rebounding or like agility stuff. I do balance drills. Like literally every aspect of fitness now I try to cover, because one, it keeps it fun, and two, it's more realistic of, for me, like I'm just trying to stay healthy and fit for life, and that's what I'm doing. I'm just doing a little bit of everything, and I just hated my workouts. I got to a point where I just hated my workouts. So this was kind of my like, try it. Hey, I'm just going to try to care a little bit less about my workouts, not focus too much energy. So just go in, move as many muscles as I can, feel good about it, try. Like I don't go in there and just freeload, but I do try, just not as hard as I did. And I don't feel as bad as taking time off or switching fitness. I'm considering, actually, here's a prime example of this. I'm considering going and living at an off-grid, basically a hippie community for a few months this summer. And obviously my workout would change a lot from what I do right now. I do everything I just told you, but there's a lot of weights involved, physical weights. And if I'm at a place like this, I might not be able to use weights. I might not be able to bring weights. I don't really know how I'm going to travel there yet, but if I don't take my car, I'm basically going to only have like resistance bands, and I might get like a sandbag so I can fill it up there and not have like sandbag workouts, but I might be just doing like isometric pushes as hard as I can. I do a lot of stuff with that. I might just be doing stretching, running, hiking. Like the time and season of your life really does need to dictate what type of workouts you're doing. If you are kind of just an average Joe in general, like, yeah, just be open to changing, be open to trying stuff. Like I seriously say to people all the time that the gym is an adult playground. That's how you should look at it 100%. Mitigating delt burn with decline push-ups. Progressed at declines. Okay, so a decline push-up is where you put your feet up on an object and then your hands down on the ground. So you're actually like literally declined. You're almost kind of like doing like a sideways push-up where you're like pushing out of the ground, kind of almost like a half handstand push-up, if that makes sense. But yeah, they're very difficult. It's a very tough way. Just get like a small step stool or put your feet up on a box, and that's going to be how you're going to do it. All right, so they progressed. Have to go break up my routine into 5 sets of 10 because of my side delt burn. Side delts? Go on to other push-ups because of the irritation. Should I power through? Vice. Yeah, I think this person just needs to maybe do a little more well-rounded shoulder stuff. He's doing this 5 sets of 10, 50 push-ups, train 5 times a week and mix things up with weight-bearing exercises. So I don't know if they're doing this every day, but yeah, just having a more well-rounded shoulder workout. You might be overworking one part and not some of that weight and stress is kind of getting dispersed to other parts. You might just have some overuse injury too on just doing decline push-ups for so long. Some people, if they do a certain workout, their body and the tissues, the tendons, ligaments, connective tissue, they get strong, but this is where tendonitis builds up, is where you keep doing it over and over and over again and don't switch it up even just a slight degree. Doing that will actually help that tendon in that specific strength area or ligament heal and work another portion of that area. And the reason this happens is because connective tissue takes a much longer time to fully recover than something like muscle. So people feel okay in their muscles, I feel good to go, but then their joints hurt. This, I think, is what's happening there. I would just rest a little bit on it, maybe come back to it in like a week, but at the end of the day, yeah. How many reps per sets do I do for bicep curls? So I'm assuming that this individual wants to gain bicep size, maybe a little bit of strength too, but they're probably, people who are doing those isolation exercises like a biceps curls, for example, usually they want to gain size. So Um, we want to think about this as the muscles being worked during the bicep, or the bicep curl, which is primarily your oh my gosh, your biceps brachii. Geez, my freaking anatomy. It's like, where did it go? I guess it's been a few years. Well, your biceps brachii, that's the main thing that's being worked. Some of your forearm muscles are being worked as well, but that's primarily the muscle being worked, and that is done through elbow flexion, so bending your elbow. And you can actually work your biceps in a lot more exercises than just a bicep curl. For example, anytime you do a row or a pulling movement, or you're pulling a weight closer to your body, anytime you're doing like a lat pull down or a pull up or something like that, you're working your biceps. You're performing elbow flexion. So that's the thing I want to say. If you're asking how many reps per sets you do for bicep curls, I'm guessing you want to gain bicep size. And it doesn't have to be just biceps curls. Now, generally speaking, when we're talking about muscle strength, usually 1 to 5 reps, in particular 1 to 3 reps of a very, very, very heavy load will gain strength. And then this is kind of the cool thing. Anywhere from 5 to 30 repetitions of an RPE, 6 to 8 will actually gain muscle. When I say RPE, that's the rate of perceived exertion. That's how hard it feels when you do a set. So it's really cool. You could do 5 reps, one set, 25 reps, another set, and 15 reps, another set. And you'd kind of be getting a different triage there of different stimulus. So one that's a little bit like actually pretty heavy and less overall reps, but you're still maximizing growth during a bicep curl. Or you could do 15 where it's kind of a hybrid of strength endurance and endurance. And then you could do a 25 rep set, which is like, 25, so very, very endurance based. Doing 25 repetitions, that's a lot of repetitions when you're talking about like a weight training set. So 5 to 30 repetitions for a bicep curl would get you strength, but also 5 to 30 reps on a lat pull down will also work your bicep muscles, which is what I'm guessing you're doing. Any type of pulling exercise. Bingo. How often should I exercise per week for optimal health? So this is a take. I'll give you the current recommendations that I believe is still for Americans. So the ACSM, or American College of Sports Medicine, made basically health guideline recommendations. So it's 2 times a week of weight training. And in those weight training workouts, all you need to do is 1 set of, I think it's 8 to 12 reps of every single major muscle group. So if we're talking about legs, so it'd be like your quads, your glutes, hamstrings, and calves. That'd be like the major muscles, generally speaking. Excuse me, man. I just had some, this stuff. It's good. Oh, sun kit there. Oh, Cameo. Boom. 0 sugar. Tastes really good. Yeah, good for dining. Anyway, back to working out. Twice a week, 1 set of every major muscle group. So like if you think about that, you are, when it comes to a weight training perspective, only need to do 2 total sets your entire week for quote unquote musculoskeletal health. That's what we're working when we're doing weight training and activities like that. Musculoskeletal health is how well your muscles work and fire and do all the things in the body, how well your skeletal system kind of works in conjunction with those, the muscle, and then also like connective tissue. So that's like tendons, ligaments. Those are the things that are typically, we should say, joint health related. So if you have like elbow pain, it's usually because of inflammation in the connective tissue, tendons, ligaments in your joints. So doing exercise will help all of those things. It will keep you strong and healthy to be able to do all the activities. It will help to keep your joints healthy, so maybe a little less pain. Twice a week. And then when it comes to cardio, this is the other one that's not a lot. 150 minutes a week of moderate intensity physical activity. Now, moderate intensity activity, nothing crazy. A very brisk walk. You could be shooting hoops. You could be walking your dog at a brisk walk. I hate using walking always as an example, but it's basically a light to medium workload of any type of cardio. So a brisk walk, a very slow jog, any type of running is already considered vigorous, actually. So another way you can look at cardio in this, you could do 150 minutes of moderate physical activity, which just Google moderate physical activities. Medical, yeah, you got it. And you'll be able to find answers. But you can also do vigorous, and technically it'll count for half. So the harder you work out, the less quote unquote cardio you have to do a week for optimal health. So you'd only have to do 75 minutes based off the ACSM standards for if you're doing vigorous. So instead of just doing like 150 minutes a week of a moderate brisk walk, you'd be 30 minutes a day basically, or 25 minutes a day, whatever. You could do 75, 15. So you could just say do 15 minutes of a run 5 days a week, and that's 75 minutes. So back to the thing, the recommendations right now, twice a week of lifting every single major muscle group. Literally go to the gym, just do an upper body pushing machine, upper body pulling machine, like a rowing or a pull down movement. Do like a leg press movement, and then maybe some core movements, like a twisting movement with your core, like Russian twist or something. And that's pretty much it. Like, you'll hit everything. And then when it comes to the cardio aspect, 150 minutes a week of moderate physical activity, brisk walk, shooting hoops, doing a light workout circuit training wise, where your heart rate is slightly elevated. I'm trying to think. Gardening. Actually, gardening outside is, I believe, is considered a moderate activity. A bunch of other things. Or 75 minutes of vigorous activity. That's what they recommend. I will say, if you can do anything, so that's like the recommendation. I say, what can you give me now? So ideally, we'd get you up to those 2 times a week, but don't really focus on that right now. Focus on the idea of just doing something. So if 150 minutes sounds scary to you of moderate cardio a week, simply do 100 minutes, 50 minutes, maybe even 30 minutes, just one time a week. And then maybe you get into the gym one time. There is still a large amount of benefit to having that structured physical activity in your life for your mental and physical health. So although, yes, twice a week of weight training and 150 minutes a week of cardio, moderate cardio, is what's recommended for optimal, sometimes starting with optimal isn't the best route. I will also say that adding a third resistance training session a week, and in particular adding vigorous activity into your lifestyle, even if you get the moderate activity, is beneficial. Simply because you aren't challenging your heart and your cardiovascular system in your body in a very tough manner if you're only doing like a brisk walk, for example. And life has a lot of vigorous things that happen to it. Maybe you need to jump or jog across traffic really quick. That will be a very vigorous activity you need to do. Carrying, let's see, I think it's like laundry up the stairs, technically a vigorous physical activity. Just going up a flight of stairs in general, that's a vigorous activity. There are a lot of things in life that are vigorous by nature because life is very unpredictable. So if you're not training that, your body's not getting the stimulus that says, hey, I can handle this. That's why a lot of times people have heart attacks, is because they go way too much on their threshold for what their heart can handle during an exercise, or just a simple day-to-day activity because they haven't stressed it in a small amount before that. So it's basically a very acute level. So very long-winded answer. Hopefully that gave you a little bit of clarity. You got it. Muscle strength is important because if you do not have strong muscles, you will not be able to do activities of daily living. So we're looking at this from a health standpoint, and I'll give you a prime example. I used to work in a senior living community, and many of the people who went there didn't really exercise a lot. Some of them never even exercised their entire life, and a lot of them had very, very low amounts of muscle mass and strength. So, not a lot of muscle or strength in the muscle. And what this does to them, anytime they try to do any activity, standing up out of a chair, excuse me, bending down to pick something off the ground, maybe they need to kneel down to get something, reaching up high and trying to get like a plate off the top shelf, carrying groceries into your car. Those are all things that take a good amount of strength. And people who aren't older or haven't seen this population in this circumstance underestimate how much strength it takes to do different things. And if you've ever been like bedridden with a cold, you've quickly realized that something like going to the bathroom and standing up in the shower or getting out of your bed takes a lot more energy than you think, mainly because your muscles just aren't up to snuff. Your entire body isn't working as well, but you can feel that you're not as strong. So basically, to be able to live, to do things, to be able to pick up something like this, to be able to mow the lawn, to be able to get into your car, like literally every time you move, period, you will use muscle. So muscle strength is important for that. One other thing that's coming to my mind is the idea of glucose regulation, and specifically body fat. So this is more along the lines of having muscle mass and why building muscle will help. If you build muscle mass, what that does, it's almost like a tank for glucose, as in anytime you consume an excess amount of glucose and you have a good amount of muscle mass, it will kind of soak up that glucose like a sponge. So there's not a bunch of free-floating glucose in your bloodstream, which if you are insulin resistant, basically this is what happens. Your body can't produce enough insulin to lower the sugar in your blood, so it just sits in your blood. And having a lot of muscle mass helps a good amount. Also, too, muscle is very active at rest. Kind of like why it's taking all that sugar in and processing it, right? But it burns a lot of calories at rest. Not a lot, but it burns more calories at rest than fat does. So if you have a lot of extra muscle, you're essentially building your body to be a furnace when you're sitting and doing nothing. That doesn't happen when you're doing cardio. So you go out for a walk and then you sit down. All the calories burned were during that walk. But when you have muscle mass or a good amount of muscle mass, you do a set of bicep curls, stimulates the muscle to be grown there in your biceps. And then after muscle is built, you're burning calories literally that entire day, assuming you give enough stimulus to it. So you can't just do it once and then quit. You know, you have to build the muscle over time with subsequent weight trainings, of course. But yeah, so a few ways to look at that. How much weight can you lose if you burn 700 calories a day? All right, so I'm guessing that they're taking like a fitness app and like maybe going for a walk or something, a few walks, long walk. Maybe they're adding in all their exercise for the day, or maybe their fitness watch just says you burn 700 calories a day. So what that is actually just your heart rate being checked when it's on your wrist. So there's calculations for your body weight and heart rate, and basically like the higher your heart rate is with that kind of ratio to your body weight, it will bake a cake. It will bake, geez Louise, it will basically recommend or tell you how many calories you burned as an estimate. So that's the first thing. It's an estimate, but also you're not really burning extra calories, if that makes sense. So like your body is very smart and intelligent, and this was some really cool research done on people who are in hunter-gatherer tribes that work on their feet a lot. They're on their feet a lot. They're walking a lot. They get like 20 to 30,000 steps a day, and their metabolic rate is actually the same as individuals who are in a Western society. So think about that. You're burning the same amount of calories overall for the most part, whether you're doing a bunch of physical activity or sitting and doing nothing. And why this is because certain things in your body ramp up when you do exercise, and certain things ramp down. So one of the things that happens is, we should say, I can't remember from the book, but like inflammation markers is a big one. So when you go for a, let's just say a walk or something, or even a jog, there will be some acute inflammation rise in your body, but it will go down after time, and that's when your body adapts. And that's a good thing, obviously. So inflammation will go down. But if you think about that, since the inflammation is going down after that walk, you will not be burning the calories or having the metabolic process of inflammation going on in your body. What about somebody who is sedentary? They will actually have those inflammation processes going because their body is basically focusing on trying to maintain homeostasis when it's not being moved around, which we know is good for you, and just isn't having a good stimulus provided to it. So it basically burns more calories doing something that's not good for you, instead of literally just, say, burning the calories from the run, and then you just don't have as much inflammation in your body, which that takes a lot of energy to manage that. It takes a lot of energy to manage homeostasis on your body when you are somebody who's very overweight, for example. That's somebody who would have a lot of inflammation. So anyway, though, that's a very long-winded answer. But generally speaking, 500 calories a day is what we recommend people to start out with if they're trying to lose weight, because you need to burn 3,500 calories to burn 1 pound of weight off your body. And ideally this would be fat, but it's usually a combination of fat and muscle. So when this person's burning 700 calories a day, let's just say, for example, they're not burning it. They're just saying, like, how much weight can I lose if I cut back 700 calories a day? Is probably a better question. So you're going to lose a little bit over a pound of fat a week. But then, of course, over time, this will go down because your body will make adjustments. And as we just stated, it tries to keep the overall amount of calories that you burn, whether or not you are eating the same or eating a lot or exercising a lot or not that much. It tries to keep it as close to the same as possible. So what'll happen is it'll kind of lower the amount of calories you're burning a day. So 700 calories a day might have you burning a little more than a pound a week initially, but if you do that in 2 to 3 months from now, I would bet money that you would likely see a large stall in your weight loss eating 700 calories. And at that point, you'd have to either increase your physical activity a little bit or eat a little bit less. So a couple options there. Choosing the best home cardio equipment for my fitness goals. So what are your fitness goals? No, but all joking aside, I think honestly, a treadmill is probably the best thing that everyone can get. And there's 2 reasons why. One, because walking is something that we do all the time. So getting better at walking by walking on a treadmill, maybe at a brisk speed, is not only going to help your heart health, but it's going to help you get around better and do activities in life better, get groceries better, maybe play with your grandkids better, go for a jaunt outside. Geez, am I like 60? Maybe I am. A jaunt outside and just taking a walk out on the block, or maybe vacation. Vacation, you want to be able to walk a good amount. And so that's the first thing. The second thing is you can do a lot of activities without really being bothersome on a treadmill. I have studied for tests by reading notes on a treadmill walking. I have read a book on a treadmill. I have watched TV watching a treadmill. I have done editing for videos on my phone. I have responded to texts. I have XYZ. I've eaten food. I sometimes eat food on my treadmill, and I have a little like table right next to me. You can do a lot of multitasking on a treadmill. And then, of course, you can run, jog on it too. But yeah, if you're getting one with an incline as well, that's going to be awesome because you can go at a really slow speed but shoot up the incline a bunch, and it's going to be a really hard workout, but you're not going to be really going that fast too. So it's really good for a low impact option, but you can go fast and jog on it too, so a little more higher impact option. It's just overall very versatile and pretty cheap overall. I have like a $200 to $300 treadmill I got that I really like. Got it years ago, and very simple to set up. Took me like 2 hours, and just press play and go. A stationary bike is another good example, but I feel like people will not. I don't know. There's just certain equipment that people don't use a lot, and from what I've talked to and seen with people, stationary bikes just don't get used at home that much unless you're like an avid fitness junkie. So if you're a beginner, I think a treadmill is so nice, especially in the winter too, because you may walk outside a lot during the summer wherever you live. I live in Iowa, but during the winter, man, it's bone cold outside. I'm not going to go take a walk when it's negative 10 degrees outside. Sometimes I do just for fun and to be a masochist, but yeah, so there you go. What exercise can I do with a 75 centimeter ball? How big is 75 centimeters? Chat GPT, help me out here, buddy. This is going to be live. Chat GPT, how big is a 75 centimeter ball? Can't remember. So centimeters. Oh, I put in bowl. Very large. Oh, a car tire. All right. Medium-sized kiddie pool. Wait. A width of a car tire or a medium-sized kiddie pool? That seems like a really big tire or a really small kiddie pool. So I'm guessing in the ball. Yeah, I don't know what kind of ball this is. Is it like a bouncy ball? I'm going to guess it's a stability ball, like the pregnancy balls that people sit on for posture. You can do actually a decent amount of exercises, a lot of different core exercise variations. You can do sit-ups on those. You can do like a witch's brew where you put your elbows on it, put your feet back like a plank, and then do this. You can flip on your back and go supine, put your legs up on it and do glute bridges on it. You can do a hamstring curl on it where you put your feet up on it, just like in that glute bridge thing we talked about, and extend your knees or push the ball forward and then come backward. You can just sit on it and kind of like balance around on it and maybe do different exercises on it. So that'll work a lot of your core strength. Maybe just say, for example, you're going to do a bicep curl on this exercise ball. I wouldn't totally recommend it, but yeah. Oh boy. There's not a whole lot of exercises you can actually do that are like really good for you with this ball. It's kind of like, I don't know. I think it's kind of a waste of space. I only use it like every once in a while, but if I never had a stability ball again, like my life would be fine. Like it's just for as much space as it takes up and how cumbersome it is, like you can't break it down. It's just a giant ball of air. Yeah, not much, but it does provide some really difficult and challenging core exercises because of the instability of the ball when you put your hands or feet up on it. But a few options. Banana or mango? Good question. Mango. I'm actually not sure how many calories. So when it comes to bananas usually have about Bananas usually have about 100 calories in a banana, sometimes 80 depending on how small it is, but like a medium banana. All right, so, okay. Mangoes have 60 calories per 100 grams, and bananas 100 calories. So about the same amount. Just think if you can think of a mango in the shape of a banana, a mango banana, that's about how much we're talking about here. There's 60 calories in that much mango. So right there you can see you're getting less overall energy, carbs, fructose sugar, right? So fruit sugar, you're getting less overall carbs from that mango, which is going to be the biggest thing. And one of the things I can say about bananas is that they're extremely cheap, extremely cheap. And when it comes to bodybuilding and eating healthy, the budget is something that usually is literally breaking the bank for people. So bananas are probably much better on that front. They're very handy and they're accessible because you don't have to cut them up or anything, and they're literally in the banana peel the entire time. And then you just take off the peel, throw it away. Versus a mango, I believe there's an outer, like, not shell, but outer skin that might not be the most nice to just eat through. I'm sure you could, kind of like a peach. Like, some people don't mind the peach fuzz and just eat through it. I eat through it. But you might want to actually cut up the mango. So that's another added process where if you're a gym person, grabbing a banana on your way out the door to the gym, so easy and quick. So the mango itself, since it is kind of leaning towards that citrusy area, it will have some of those more, I guess, I said citrus nutrients. Vitamin C is one I'm thinking of as an example, but bananas will have a little more potassium, and potassium is an electrolyte that gets used a lot during any process. In specific, though, muscle contractions and working out, potassium gets used a pretty good amount. So bananas are excellent for that. Bananas, I will say, do sit kind of heavy, so you have to be careful eating a banana too close to your workout. You can train your stomach and practice eating it more and more closer to your workout, but there are multiple times like I'll eat a banana like 10 minutes before a workout, sometimes even 30 minutes, and I'll be like burping up the banana the entire workout, and it just like feels like I'm about to throw up. So just give yourself a little time. The mango, again, since there's literally less energy needing to be processed, it's going to, it's going to go through your body a little bit quicker. So, yeah, I would stick with bananas. But if you're somebody who doesn't like bananas, mango is totally okay too. Either one of them are fine. And really, it's just a nuance between price and preference. But banana, I think, overall takes the cake. Avoiding plateauing in my strength training. Plateauing. Oh boy. So this means basically when you stop getting results in strength training. And one of the biggest things that happens when beginners first start working out is that they will make a lot of progress. And then basically, like, all of a sudden, it just drops off. And this is what we call your newbie gains or your beginner gains. And in the first 2 to 3 months of weight training, it is such a new stimulus on your body, such a difficult stimulus on your body, that your body literally is like recruiting all of your nervous system, all of the muscle, like everything, all on board here to keep your body adapting. Because if your body doesn't adapt to the demands you're putting on it, the next time you put demands on it, it could potentially die or hurt itself, and your body knows that. So it's smart, and since you push yourself a little bit, it will get stronger. So then the next time you push yourself, you won't feel as hard. And you're like, okay, yeah, this is how much I'm doing for my life and these types of strength activities. My body can handle this now. But after that initial big spike in your strength, it drops off. You hit a wall. And it's for a couple reasons. One, your body isn't necessarily designed to become superhuman in strength. It's designed to get stronger if you put adaptations on it, but after your initial newbie gains, the amount of workouts you need to do to actually get stronger, or I should say the intensity of your workouts to get stronger, must go up by quite a bit. You can get away with a lot at the beginning, and you can basically do almost any program and you'll get stronger and gain a little bit of muscle. Just getting in there, doing anything. But you need to start getting very specific. So if we're talking about squats, you need to start squatting a lot more. You need to start squatting with heavier weights a lot more. And you just have to focus a lot more of your attention on strength training. So anything that would take away from it, like if you're somebody who likes cardio, you wouldn't be able to do stuff like that quite as much. But then also remember what I was saying, that you aren't necessarily designed to get really, really strong, because after those first 2 to 3 months, your body's like, okay, I've gotten a lot more stronger. Like, I don't need any more strength. So it doesn't put as much emphasis towards making yourself stronger, because in all reality, when you get your beginner gains in the first few months, every little bit of gains after that, like, it's not really helping you at all from like a survival standpoint. Like, somebody who can deadlift 225 pounds versus somebody who can deadlift 500 pounds, like, if you're in a life or death situation, your adrenaline's going to be doing most of the work for you. So aside from like maybe a little bit on a specific activity, like, I don't know, flipping a car up over somebody who's got pinned under it. For the most part, though, like, there's not going to be that much of a difference. Like, when you're running away from a bear, for example, like, you know, your body is like, whether you can deadlift 225 or 500 pounds, like, your body's like, we're just putting all our adrenaline into this, and all our muscles are going right now, period. So yeah, that's kind of a big thing to consider, is that your body doesn't want you to get super, super strong, because it takes a lot of resources and a lot of wear and tear on your body. This is the other part. So really, you should be able to work out almost all the time. And if you are consistent with your workouts, even if you're plateauing, there's going to be a point, just because you're consistent, it's going to slowly break through. What happens a lot of times with people is they'll start plateauing, so they'll keep pushing and they injure themselves. Or they just injure themselves before they do it. Or they start getting some elbow pain, so they back off a little bit. But if you're really consistent in your weight training routine, that's really where the gains are. Like, anyone who's deadlifting a large amount of weight or squatting a large amount of weight or doing any type of strength training, the ones who are like professionals are able to hit very heavy lifts frequently throughout the year and not get injured. And that is all with smart programming, programming your intensity right, programming your exercise selection right, and managing stress. So that's another bucket there too. Think about your recovery. The more external stress you have outside the gym, the harder it's going to be to recover, and you're not going to be busting through those plateaus. Man, I keep thinking of stuff here. This is good, though. Hopefully this is helping you reach through your plateaus. So eating is another big aspect of this. If you're eating in maintenance, or if you are eating in a calorie deficit, so eating less calories than you need to maintain your body weight, you will likely have a very hard time gaining strength. And this is because you are losing a little bit of muscle when you lose weight. Now, if you're strength training, a good portion of it is going to be fat, but there still is going to be a small portion of it that is muscle. And anytime you lose muscle, the muscle itself in it has little cells, and basically those muscle cells get stimulated by your nervous system to fire, to act. And if you get rid of the muscle, right, by losing weight a little bit, the nervous system simply has less muscle to work with to do the same activity. So eating enough calories, at least in maintenance or in a calorie surplus, will really, really help to continue to go through your strength training and to help you break plateaus. I promise you, whatever you're doing, if you take the next 3 months to gain 10 pounds in your body weight, tell me your squat doesn't go up. Tell me your bench press doesn't go up. Tell me, I guess body weight exercises might not go up a whole lot, but overall strength movements definitely will. How much should I spend on a 1 hour personal training session? So this is a hot take. Yeah, I think personal trainers, for one, people underestimate how much it takes to be a personal trainer. And especially when you're doing stuff like this, like, for me, I have put in hours, days, months, years of studying exercise science and working with people and learning about fitness and health. I have gone to school. I have a degree in exercise science. I have a personal training certification from the National Strength and Conditioning Association. And all those things took lots and lots of time and effort. And people don't understand that, one, when you're going to a personal trainer, not all of them have spent that much time, but they have at least done a personal training certification. Also, two, they have to prep your workout before and likely log some stuff after your 1 hour workout. So your 1 hour session with them might end up being an hour and a half. Also, sometimes this happens at the YMCA, I know, they're only getting paid while they're there with you for that 1 hour. After you leave, nothing. Driving there, nothing. It's only for that hour that they get paid. So it might seem like a high amount, but when you take into consideration all the time, money, and effort they did into studying just generally exercise to become a personal trainer, and that they're making your program and tweaking it as needed when talking to you, and doing the program with you, giving you cues, motivation, etc., that takes a lot of energy and effort. And then afterwards, doing all the things on the back end too. It is common at places that charge for personal training to do $50 to $70 an hour. That might seem like a lot, but hopefully after I described all that stuff to you, it shouldn't seem like a lot. Now, there are performance gyms, strength and conditioning gyms, or people who have like rich clients, celebrity trainers. They may get paid $100 to $200 for an hour. When it comes to individuals who are just starting out, you might not be looking at those higher end ones. So I think trying to find a trainer who is charging $30 to $40 an hour is pretty reasonable. Even for somebody who just got their personal training certification. They know enough about working out to make you a program. They've worked or at least studied enough people to know like how to work out with them. $30 to $40 is probably like the lowest amount I would give you. Now, I will tell you, when I first started working out, I felt kind of guilty asking for money. And the first person I worked with, I charged $20 an hour working with her. And I spent more than an hour with her. Before and after, I spent time talking with her on the phone before our work, like just endless amounts of time. Spent money on the equipment because this was like me doing it personally. But $20 an hour, like realistically, my hourly rate was probably, after all of that, like, I don't know, $10 an hour. Like, it was not a lot. Fast track, I am now at the point where I don't have a lot of clients, but when I was getting a decent amount more, I was at $100 an hour rate. And again, that may seem like a lot, but when you have worked with a lot of people, you're good talking to people, you know how to tweak exercise technique very easily, and just have a lot of experience under your belt, people will pay what they want to be with you. And if you're looking at somebody too, you also got to think about, I'm spending money to basically hang out with this person too. So if they're a chipper person, upbeat, and they make you feel good, and they also give you a decent workout and something that doesn't cause pain and feels good, isn't too hard, but isn't too easy, then how much would you pay for that? I mean, like, you're yeah, it's just think a little more in depth about what goes in it for the personal trainers. But yeah, 30 to 40 to answer your question. But if you find somebody who's good, it's kind of like a good barber. If you find a good barber, like, you might be willing to pay a little more for it. It does depend too, how many of these sessions a week. You know, if you're just doing one a week, doing like a high ticket, like $80 might not be bad. But if you're really like strapped on change, you might be looking for a $30 to $40 one. I think too, places like the YMCA or corporations, Anytime Fitness, I think since you're a member, you can actually get discounted rates for personal trainers. And usually when you buy more packages, so like you say 10 personal training sessions, usually get a percentage off too. So look into that. You might get more if you just buy like a bulk amount. 3 sets of 15. What does that mean? This is something I get asked a lot. What does sets and reps mean? So repetitions is simply anytime you do an exercise or movement, it's literally counting the movement one time. So let's just use a simple example. I'm going to do some index finger curls. This isn't a legit exercise, but yeah, there's muscle here working. So me doing one index finger curl, that's 1 rep. Okay? 2 reps, 3 reps, 4 reps. Let's say we're doing 3 sets of 5 reps of index finger curls. Enter any exercise in, but 3 sets of 5. So we're going to do that right now. 1 rep, 2 rep, 3 reps, 4 reps, 5 reps. Okay? That's the end of your first set. A set is simply how much you do of repetitions before you rest and then do the next set. So I would maybe, let's just say hypothetically, I rested 30 seconds. I can now do my second set of 5 reps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you plug this in to 3 sets of 15 reps, it's the same concept. 1, 2, 3, 4, 14, 15, done with 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 14, 15, done with 2, etc., all the way up to 3. That's it. And the nomenclature you'll see is usually reps will be first and sets will be second. So on a program, it'll literally say 3 times 15 or 3 by 15. Those are usually 2 common ways you'll see it. Or it'll say 3 reps of, 3 sets of 15 reps. Oh my gosh, I was just blanking there. So yeah, a few different ways you'll see it, and it's really that simple. Hopefully that answered it. I feel like I answered it well enough, but I don't know. If you have questions on this, comment down below. Oh, one other thing you can think about this. No, don't comment down below yet. Comment this. Another way you can think about this is how many total repetitions am I doing? So you can multiply these 2 numbers together. 3 times 15 means you are doing 45 total repetitions during your set. So literally the 15 reps, that's 1 bundle. 15 reps is another bundle. 15 reps is another bundle. Lump them all together, 45 total reps of that exercise. Another way to think about it. How and when should you do stretching exercises? Whenever the heck you want. Just kidding. All right, so this is where we get kind of the nuance between dynamic and static stretching. Dynamic stretching is basically where you are moving your joint through a long range of motion, but you aren't holding it in a fixed place for a long period of time. So this might be something like a squat, a deep squat hold. This would be like a dynamic stretch where you would go down into a deep squat hold. You'd maybe bend to the left and the right a few times, and then you would simply get up out of it. In that position, you are actually stretching a lot of the muscles just by sitting in it passively. But when you move around, you're kind of moving the muscles a little bit. So it's not a full-blown passive movement. Where if you like, say, take your arm, put it across your chest, and then pull it towards you, this is a static stretch where you are actively just holding it in a static position and then resting, okay? It's not really doing much. Another way to think of static or active stretching or dynamic stretching is basically any type of light warm-up. So like arm swings coming up and down, up and down. Those would be a dynamic stretch. A static version of that would be bringing your arm up overhead and just pulling it back into place like that. That'd be a static version. And usually it's recommended to do dynamic stretching before your workouts. It primes your nervous system well for the workout. It Actually, well, that's pretty much the main thing. It primes your nervous system, and it doesn't get you really relaxed. When you do stretching, like static stretching, it gets you relaxed. So you kind of want your heart rate up a little bit before you work out. It'll help to move blood flow and nutrients around your body better. But also, there's something in the muscle that when you do static stretching, where you just stretch and hold it before a workout, the performance of your muscle actually goes down a little bit. Now, the interesting catch with this, though, is that the performance goes, so you might actually not be able to run as fast or have as good as strength outcomes, but you will potentially have decent hypertrophic numbers, because we know that if you stretch a muscle through a full range of motion all the way to the end of the joint, and then pull it all the way back up, the stretch is where a lot of the stimulus is provided. So there's actually some studies done on people doing stretching in between sets of like bench press, for example. So they'll stretch their chest and shoulders between sets of bench press, and you actually get a little bit more muscle built from that. But you're not getting as much strength output in the muscle because your muscle, it needs to be a little, I should say, tense, stiff. It needs to be stiff to be able to produce a lot of force. So you need strength, like literally stiffness or strength. That's what it is in the muscle. So when you stretch it out, it's not as stiff. And when it's not as stiff, don't take that into context. I know you perverts out there. When it's not as stiff, you won't be able to do as much strength. So basically, dynamic or simple body weight warm-up type movements, arm swings, leg screens, deep squat holds, lunge with a twist. Those things should be done before your exercise training. And then static stretching, where you're sitting and holding something, should be done after, if you are trying to maximize your strength. That's really the only time, or I should say like running, power related things where having like a large amount of force and being able to produce it is good for you. But yeah, stretching, doing static stretching before your workouts doesn't reduce the risk of injury. I should say warming up gently likely would, but even that's kind of overblown. Injury happens when you have a large amount of an acute stimulus at one time. So if you normally can squat 135 pounds on a back squat for one time and you bump it up to 315 pounds, you will likely blow out your knee, blow out your back, blow out everything. Not because squats are bad, and not because 315 is inherently bad, but you just aren't strong enough to do it. So if you think about any exercise routine, if you are going immediately into any exercise, you should be doing something within your capabilities for that time. So it probably wouldn't make sense to go right into your 135, because when you're not fully warmed up, you're technically not primed to do it, and you're not literally the strength of your 135 pound self, if that makes sense. So move a little before, stretch nice and calm after, you're good.